Hi and welcome back to the show, and I'm with Jacqueline Campbell. How are you, Jacqueline?
Getting there on such a rainy day, I must admit.
I know, but we were talking about, last time we got together, we talked about workflow.
We did.
And I suppose a few people are going, okay, that sounds good, but what does that actually do for you? And we're going, well, it gets you out of the business.
Yes. Not that we want to make ourselves redundant, but let's make ourselves redundant. And why? Why do we want to be redundant in our own businesses?
Well, I think the reason of getting into business for myself is, one, obviously to make more money than I could as an employee. And I think those possibilities are there.
We're still working on that, yeah. Yep.
And the other one was to be able to spend more time with the family.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that they're probably the two biggest bugbears of most business owners.
Yep.
Is one, they go, well, I'm not earning as much, which,
Working on it.
I'm not quite sure about that one. You know, oh, look at this, yeah, okay. But the biggest, and I think it's probably a genuine complaint of a lot of business owners, is that they don't get to spend more time with the family. In fact, they spend more time at work.
That's it. You sold this. It's okay. Run your own business. Get your life back. Whoever said that is lying. But I think it's our own self-discipline in there. But I've got a third reason for you.
Yeah, go for it.
If you cannot make yourself removed from what you're doing, you can't scale.
Well, that is true.
Because if I'm flat out, and what I realised the other day, and I was listening to another podcast, and the lady on there was saying she thought she'd built a successful business. What she realises is that what she's actually done is built herself a consultancy with a really good support crew.
Right.
Because she is still the only person that can do what she does.
Wow.
Not that she's the only person on the planet who can do what she does,
No.
like some of us. But she is the only person in her business. And that she can help with reports, got someone who's a PA, she's got all these other things going on. So she's constantly loading things or taking things off her plate and giving them quite successfully to other people to do. Someone does her accounts, someone does her generation. But she's still the only person who can go out and actually do what they do.
It's interesting you say that because, I've listened to a lot of business coaches, some very good ones around, but I listen to them and they're number one, look, make yourself redundant, make sure you get other people doing your work so you can have more time off. And I've looked at them and gone, well, you don't.
Exactly, because they haven't built themselves a business.
No.
You've built yourself a job.
Yeah. And, I look at these business coaches around. I'm not criticising them, but here's a classic because they're in consultancy and they've gone, I built a business. Well, no, you haven't, because you can't step out because the business is you.
You've built a practice.
Yes. And look, I became very aware of that. And look, we've only been running for 15 months at the stage of this recording in 2017. But I was very aware at the start that if it was only going to be me sitting in the chair doing interviews,
Absolutely.
it was going to be, okay, how are you ever going to get out of a chair? And how's anyone else going to do it?
Yep.
Which is nice. I mean, I enjoy doing interviews, but when you want to scale the business, which is a valid point, or you want to remove yourself so you can go on holidays and the business still runs.
Yeah.
And I think it was, I'm just trying to think of the gentleman's name, I can't remember now, but he said, if you can't leave your business for 6 months and when you come back, it's not a car park, then you haven't got a business.
Or if you can't leave, you should be able to go away. If you've really set things up properly, you should be able to go away for a month or 6 weeks and come back and your business is in a better position than it was when you left. I.e. it's continuing to grow, it's continuing to consolidate its clients, it's continuing to do what it's designed to do.
And the gentleman's name was Brad Sugars.
Of course.
How could I forget Brad Sugars? Built Action Coaching. There's a business coach who went, you know what? How do I not do the coaching?
Yeah.
And he became a coach's coach, and he's free. I think he lives in Las Vegas now, but he's got a team of coaches. But that was his approach, and that was his comment. If I can't leave the business for 6 months and come back to a business and not a car park, I haven't built a real business.
But you're interesting thing with that, unlike say Tony Robbins or some of these other big speakers, his name is nowhere near it.
No, he called himself Action International, Action Coaching.
Yeah, Action Coaching. It's the blue and red, isn't it? I've actually got colleagues of mine that do that. It's a whole online franchised package.
Absolutely.
And so is things like the Y Coach and a couple of other things which have been around there. It's very interesting.
You know, I know Tony Robbins, his franchise, I think Tony Robbins does strategic intervention. He's got other coaches that work for him. He, I mean, being Tony, loves to step up on stage. I know he does a lot less work now. And even when you go to his events, he doesn't do the whole event.
Oh, okay.
You actually go there and
never been. Yeah.
No, but apparently there's other things. He's on the big screen where it's been taped. He'll pop in and do a personal appearance for a few hours, but he really has gone along that line that Robbins International, I think, is main.
Right, is that the bonus?
Yeah, his actual company runs basically
Huge
without
big
him.
events and bits of business.
But because he's such a big name,
Yeah.
they use him.
Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you?
you?
Absolutely. Okay.
So, interesting there what we're talking, you brought up about Brad and his became a franchising model. And we've talked about this before, and we talked about this in workflow, one of my not passions.
Something I love. Yeah.
But how important is it that even if you're not going to franchise your business, I don't think you could go too far wrong in making your business franchisable or build it in those modules.
Well, I guess if you build it franchisable, we should patent that word. Franchisable as in the ability to franchise. All it's really saying is I understand how my whole business goes together. These are the components, and this is what is expected at each and every step. Now, that can be a mental process, or it can be a physical written down process. But it does clarify, and it's all back to that workflow. What do I do now? What do I do next? And I'm just terrible at it. I have a great team of people who I seem to spend my entire life sabotaging. I'm sure that is actually my role in the company. It's not to do what I do, it's to go and make everybody else's life much harder than it needs to be, because sometimes I feel I get to the end of the day and that's all I've done is make everybody else's life a misery. And what it is, 9 times out of 10 when I sit back and I go, oh God, you know, what have I done today? It's I didn't follow my own darn process. It's very simple. Complete inspection. Come back to office. Take the SD card, assuming you haven't lost it like I did the other day. Take the SD card out of the thermal camera.
Yes.
Put it into the computer.
Yep.
Take the thermal images from the camera, put into the project file. Take the SD card out of the camera. Repeat process. So everything is then there on the system. Take the recordings from the dictaphone, put into the folder. It's all there then. And anybody who needs to, then what I need to do is you go through, you sort the photographs, create the folder which has got not for report, create the photographs which are not, you know, rip out, so convert the thermal images, chuck everything you don't need for the report into the not for the report folder, rip through the photographs, do the tweaks, do the whatever else, so they represent what you need them to show. I mean, it's all very nice to have a photograph, but you think, why is that there? And sometimes you do end up taking a lot of photographs, and I do take more than I need because we're trying to tell a story with the appendix. Sort them all through, number them, and then let the team know it's ready.
That's a good idea.
What a great idea! Of course, it doesn't help if you don't take the thermal gun images out, and you've got to get to the end of the day, and my PO will come and say to me, go, Jack, didn't you do 2 inspections today? Yep. Where's your stuff? In the camera. What's it doing in the camera? I'll get it for you now. And she can't do her job because I haven't done all of mine. And if I just followed the process, everybody's life's easier. I just finished reading a book called The One Thing.
Oh, yes.
And I desperately try to remember who it's by now. And the book says, and it's like, it's just, it's such a, there's so many other things, but the premise of this book, or the underlying point of this book, it says, and the question to ask yourself, obviously it walks it through and it talks about the philosophy and it blah, 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 like all good books does. But it says, and if there is one thing, what is the one thing that you can do right now that will make other things easier or not, or no longer required?
Wow.
And you're thinking, if you just put that premise around it, what's the one thing I can do on whatever you're working on right now that makes, and you've got to have the rest of it, that makes other things easier or no longer required. And all I have to do is put the damn stuff in the damn folder. And it ticks that box.
chocolate ticket boxes. With the one thing, we'll take one break and we will be back with more.
Right.